Good morning guys, I hope you're all well out there. So a lot of people have been asking about the fire alarm system at the Scout Hut, and so I said I'll put a little video out there about that particular installation, if we can call it that. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you do, hit a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so that you don't miss out on future videos. Enjoy. So one of the jobs on my list is to just have a look at this fire alarm panel and see what's going on. It says it's got a battery fault on it, so I'm not sure exactly what the problem is, but I'll take the cover off and just have a look and see what's what. Okay, so there's no battery, so that might be why it's got a battery fault. Stupid. So that's easily fixed, which is good. But the outgoing cables are not even connected either. So I'm not sure why. Whether they've been disconnected because there was an issue, or whether they just never been connected in the first place, I have no idea. It's a CB200 4-zone panel. Looks like really rubbish quality, but why am I surprised? Why am I not surprised? We've got 3 zones, it looks like. So zone 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got these resistors here, so I presume that we'll just need to connect those in and then take these resistors out and put them in the end of line. I'm not sure about the core points, if they're on the same zones or not. So anyway, I'm going to order a battery and then the rest I'll figure that out another day. Actually, I need 2 batteries, just for you, those who aren't familiar with fire alarm systems. They usually work on 24 volts, but you have 2 12-volt batteries and then you just wire them in series so that they make up to 24 volts. So that space is enough for 2 12-volt batteries side by side. Yeah, at least I know partly what the problem is, but these cables, who knows what we're going to find. Right, so I'm busy sorting out this fire alarm panel, and basically it was just another case of half finished. So there were no batteries, so that's why it was coming up as a battery fault, but then none of the zones or the sounders were connected either, so it was just left. So I've bought some batteries and put those in. They are in now and the battery fault was gone, that's fine. The way the batteries work, if you're not familiar with a fire alarm panel, is 24 volts. So you have 2 12-volt batteries connected in series, which brings it up to 24 volts. Basically there's just like a little link wire that goes between the positive and negative on one side, and then the positive and negative connections on the other side go to the panel. The panel has a 24 volt transformer in it as well, so this provides the main power supply to the 24 volt transformer. That charges the batteries, and then if power cuts off for some reason, the batteries kick in so that the system is still energized. We've got 4 zones on this panel, and each zone has a capacitor in the connections. That capacitor has to go to the end of line to maintain the capacitance of the circuit, and with the alarm circuits, which is for the sounders, we've got 4 alarm circuits as well. We're only using 1, we've got 2 sounders in this property, 1 here and then 1 in the main hall, which is the end of line. So these resistors here that are in the connections, in the terminals, you basically just remove a resistor from there and put it in the end of line across positive and negative, and then that does the trick. So I've connected this sounder circuit now, put the end of line resistor in place, and if I press evacuate, then we can see that the sounders are working, so that's good. I've got to do the same with the capacitors now, so I've just taken the capacitor out of zone 1, Fortunately, the guys labelled the cables up at least roughly. He sort of scribbled in biro on them, so I can see which one is which, numbering wise. So I've got to connect zone 1 into here now, and just see if that does the trick. So zone 1 is actually this cable here. I don't know why he's just connected these two together in a terminal block. So that should be zone 1, and basically that will go into the zone 1 terminals. And there we go, fault has gone, so that indicates that actually it's already got the correct capacitance. Okay, so I need to install the capacitor at the end of line on zone 1. The tricky part is that I don't actually know which detectors are which when it comes to the zones, which is a little bit annoying. I don't know if it will have lit up. I don't think they've got indicators on them. So anyway, these are all 22 microfarad capacitors, so all I need to do actually is go to the furthest point on each of the zones. It doesn't matter really which one's which, and just put the capacitors in place on the end of line, and then that should do the trick. So I'll disconnect this at the moment. And then I'll put the capacitor, all of the capacitors in place, and then try connecting all of the zones. Right, so a little update for you. At this point I went round and had a look and tried to find the end of line points. Took off call point in the main hall, and it wasn't even connected. Like, the wires were just coiled up in the back, they weren't even connected. It's just becoming a can of worms, so I decided to just stop there really and leave it for another day. Okay, so at this point I've not allowed enough time to really sort this out. I only allowed up to an hour and no materials, just to sort of look into the fault, and it's going to take me a while to go around all the points and figure out what's what, so I think I'm going to have to just allow for another visit later on to sort this out, which is a bit of a shame, but just one of those things. It's, you know, if it had been installed properly at the start it would have been much easier, but now it's like tracing it from scratch basically, which means that it's a lot of work. So at least I've got batteries in, but apart from that, kind of need to do a lot more investigation really. So what do you think of that? Let me know in the comments what you would do. Bit of a tricky one, to be honest, because I would have liked to have got it all up and running there and then, but just not possible. So I know that a lot of you are fire alarm experts who watch my channel, and I'd love to hear from you your suggestions of what you do with this particular job. Would you A, rip out the entire panel and detectors and just reuse the existing cabling and start again? Would you B, just work with what's there and try and get it all up and running with the existing equipment? Or do you have another solution? I'd love to hear your suggestions. And as you can see from the video, I'm not a fire alarm expert as such. You can probably tell that from my terminology and things like that. I do a fair amount of fire alarm work, but yeah, I'm not
an expert and I don't claim to be. So I'd love to hear advice from anyone out there who is. Thanks for watching and have a great day.